Well, hey, you, and welcome back to another episode of the Miss Michaela Mae Show. I'm your host, Miss Michaela Mae. Today is episode 11 of the Miss Michaela Mae Show. And today we are going to talk about something that has been on my mind for a little bit. And I honestly thought it was fitting to talk about this episode today because it is Charlie Kirk's birthday. If you don't know who Charlie Kirk is, he was someone who got assassinated in the public, who was what people would call a right-leaning commentator, podcaster, author, etc. He got assassinated. I'm pretty sure everyone knows kind of who he is at this point, but for some reason, if you don't, he was the man who was assassinated at UVU on September 10th, 2025. And whether you love Charlie Kirk or you loathe Charlie Kirk, one thing that my uncle told me, and it was actually related to church, was listen to the message and not the messenger, because sometimes a messenger can be a little rough, or you don't like the way they speak, or you don't like the way they're delivering it, but it doesn't mean their message still isn't good. So whether you love Charlie Kirk or whether you loathed Charlie Kirk, I really encourage you to listen to this message today, because the insight of this message that I am about to share with you was inspired by Charlie Kirk, but the message is very much about you and about me. And the first place that this message starts was really with a friend of mine after he lost his mom. And it was a couple months after her death. He had called me and we were talking, and I had asked him, do you want me to be friend Michaela, or do you want me to be professional grief counselor Michaela? I don't care which one you want, but just let me know so I know which direction to go. And he's like, honestly, I need some help working through this grief. So if you don't mind putting your professional hat on, that would be great. And so as I was asking him questions, I was trying to get to what the root of the grief is. Because even though grief can be, we think it's connected to the very one thing, we all have a different meaning behind the grief. So I was asking him questions to get to the root of what this grief meant and what would be a productive way for him to move through it. And what was interesting about this conversation is I hope I was able to help him. But what is more interesting is he may have helped me in a way more than I have helped him. Hopefully it was mutually beneficial and we both helped one another. But one of the things he said to me as I was asking one of the questions was, Michaela, there are worse things than death. And essentially, because I hadn't seen their mom, I think from when she was sick for a couple of years, and I saw her not long after she got diagnosed, but she had been declining for a couple of years from breast cancer. And so I had not seen her in her really rough stages. And one of the things that I apologize. I forgot to put my phone on do not disturb, and I do not want to get a ding while we are in the middle of this conversation. So one, as she was declining and was really bad in her last few days in the hospital, he said, Michaela, there are worse things than death. And that has really sat with me. He said that to me probably about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. And that has just really sat with me ever since. And what was interesting is the day of the Charlie Kirk assassination, it dawned on me. Yes, one of the things that are worse than death is living like a coward. And again, whether you loved Charlie Kirk or you loathed Charlie Kirk, I think we can all agree that he did not live like a coward. He very much lived, and he said what he meant and he meant what he said. There we go. I wanted to word that very accurately. And to me, that is one of the definitions of living with courage and not living like a coward, not being afraid to stand up for what you believe in and actually do something actively about it. And so the question, and this is the message again, regardless of your feelings about Charlie Kirk, this is the message that I want to deliver, not to just you today, but to myself as well, is asking the question, what is your part in this? So regardless of what side you find yourself on, how can you live more with courage, and how can you live out your part? Because we all have a specific part to play. And actually, Charlie himself had said that on the Mike Rowe podcast. He said, I'm really thankful you're out here doing this so I can focus on what I am here to do. Because really, if we lay out all the problems our current society is facing, it is too much for a single person to do every single solitary one of those things. However, if we all do our part, it will get done, because whether you believe in God or source or the universe or a higher power, your higher self, that energy, that force, like Star Wars, that is just that thing that is bigger than you, regardless of how you describe it, that energy, I'm going to just say, actually, I kind of just want to say the force for the rest of this episode, to be honest with you. the force that created us, the source in which we were created from, that is this force. There you go. Put a special mission on every single one of our hearts. And the purpose of that is so we all have our part to play. And when we all play our part, it all gets done. And so that is what I want to encourage you to sit with on a day where today is Charlie Kirk's birthday, where again, regardless of your feelings about him, how can you live with a bit more courage today? Ask yourself the question, what is my part in this? Not just in a specific movement or in a specific mission, but your part here on this earth. And the other thing that after Charlie Kirk's death, I really sat on it and I prayed and I meditated on it of what is our job? And one of the most important things that came through as I was sitting with this is take control of your mind, have ultimate control over your mind. Because if you don't have control over your mind, someone, something, I feel like there's a third word I'm looking for and it's not coming to me. Someone, something, somebody, I don't know, will. And so become the master of your mind. Like that is really the key takeaway to today's video is how can you become the master of your own mind and how can you live with a bit more courage? Whether you do have a calling to do something like Charlie and to be more public and be more out facing, or if you have a call to be a bit more behind the scenes, there is no right or wrong answer. Again, the source that is this force within us put your specific wants and your specific desires in your soul for a reason. And when you allow those things to come out and to play out, you will do your part and you don't have to do everything. You just have to do whatever your part is. But part of this is the discovery process. And so if you haven't gone back and listened to a couple of my episodes, I highly encourage you to do that because I talk about how we all have this soul calling that we are here to fulfill. But part of the soul calling is the discovery process. And so take this message and take this lesson today to go figure out what is my part? How can I live with more courage? And what is the thing that is worse than death for you? Is it living like a coward? Is it not being brave? Is it not speaking your truth? Is it not living your truth? Is it becoming or being someone you're not? Like, what is the thing that is worse than death for you? And how on Charlie Kirk's birthday can we all just be a little more honest and live with a little more courage? That is all I have for today's episode of the Miss Michaela Mae Show. If you found value in this episode, I would be so honored if you would rate, review, and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And until tomorrow, this is the Miss Michaela Mae Show, and we will talk to you later.